button blue. Sub if you new. Hey, what it do? Make the like button blue. Sub if you new.
Hello, salutations, what it do? Start the gamer off out of the Durag gang, no vibes like subscribe. Let's get it. Welcome to Super News Live. We are bringing it back for the culture. Trying some new stuff this week. We're going to do more live streams. We're going to cover some news. Let's see how it works out. How's everyone doing? What's up, Joel? Zach? Jab, what it do, Craig? OVO. Back in, what up, Jet? Jack Jones? What up, Ant? So, basically how this works, I got some new segments we're going to go over, and then at the end, I'll chop it up with the chat a little bit, and then we'll be out of here, and I'm going to cut up the segments, and we'll post them as smaller YouTube videos for those that didn't miss the whole live stream, who missed the whole live stream or didn't see all of it and want to see the stories just broken down smaller into videos. What's up, Kid Finesse? All right, so we got some interesting stories to cover today. We got some really cool stories, some fun stuff, and we got some bad stuff. We got actually just breaking news. We got the state of play, which I told y'all about. Shout out to Jeff Grubb. Is coming this Thursday, and it's going to feature an extended look at Suicide Squad Justice League. So we're going to go over that. We're going to go over some Spider-Man 2 PS5 news, because unfortunately, once again, I literally just did this rant on the podcast last week, the After Show podcast, every Friday at 8. Insomniac has some of the worst fans on planet Earth. They are completely ungrateful, so toxic, despite all the great Insomniac has done, and they're back at it again. Their usual nonsense. So we'll talk about that. We'll talk about some MCU news, talk about some DC news. There's some reports that Jason Momoa is quitting as Aquaman, and that Aquaman 2 sounds like it's going to be epic levels of dog water. So we're going to get into all of that. Make sure you smash that like button, share the video, all that good stuff for the algorithm. Those are free ways to help the video, and they do go a long way. Even just hitting that like button will help the video out a ton, get this out to more people. So we'll start out a little bit lighter, because I know I'm definitely going to be ranting when it comes to that Spider-Man story. So that's definitely going to be happening. But first, we'll start out with some lighter news. Karen Gillian apologizes for the awkward Guardians of the Galaxy 3 pose. Now, this is actually pretty funny, because this was a response to what got a little bit of backlash online. This was originally a story from Bounding in the Comics. So they covered this because there were some people, the MCU people, were pointing out that the Guardians 3 poster looked a little off. Nebula did not look like how Nebula usually looks like. And you see the side by side in the you could even blow this up. you see in the New Guardians poster, Nebula is doing a really awkward pose, and it looks like they basically made her look like a dude. And in this old Guardians promo image from previous films, I just see she looks very much different. Like they're showing off her seductive side. So this week, because it's Twitter, it became a thing. It became a culture war issue. People were talking about there's Disney trying to push that agenda, you know, and that sort of thing. And Gillian actually came out and apologized for the awkward pose, not, you know, for spreading any agendas. She said, "Okay, can anyone tell me what I was thinking? Now I decided to pose like this on the international worldwide poster that will remain forever more. I remember doing this pose and thinking, I think I look pretty cool here. Laugh. So I take full responsibility for this choice. But oh my God, what am I leaning against? What is my elbow doing?" So she made a light of the situation, and it's just kind of like taking the L, you know, light, just making it light, keeping it light. Yeah, the poster does not look great. Definitely some choices were made there. I'm not sure if this is falling under the agenda category, but whoever took that picture definitely, I think, has a personal beef with Karen Gilliam. Assuming that wasn't an intentional choice. But I'm sure it'll be fine. I think Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is still going to be an awesome movie, so I'm not even that worried about it. But I thought it was funny that she actually came out and addressed and at least acknowledged it. That just shows how much that poster was being memed online. It's definitely interesting. I will say that it was definitely a choice by Disney. We got some lighter news. We got once again some speculation that Luke Cage and Jessica Jones are coming back. This pretty much happens every single time they are taking pictures together. They're friends, but because they are both from Netflix Marvel shows that people actually thought were good, and because Daredevil has been brought back, everyone's now wondering, okay, when's Punisher coming back? When's Luke Cage or Jessica Jones? No one's asking about Iron Fist, but it's usually Luke Cage, Jessica Jones. Are they coming back? When they're coming back? Are they going to have an appearance in Daredevil Born Again? So every time these two are seen together in public, people start speculating. Sometimes that's a thing, you know, actors will, you know, do cryptic stuff to like kind of tease something. So this could be a thing. We haven't heard anything one way or another, whether or not Luke Cage and Jessica Jones are coming back, but Marvel would be very smart to do so. They definitely need some hits, and if Daredevil Born Again goes crazy, all the more reason to, at the very least, have them come in for, you know, cameos or something like that. You know, see the reaction. I will tell you right now, spoiler alert, will be huge. And then use that opportunity to say, hey, by the way, we have a show with these two in development. They're coming back to the Disney Plus side of things. Or they could just give it back to Netflix. We heard that since Disney got a new CEO, they're open once again to licensing Marvel to other companies like Netflix or Amazon to start developing their own Marvel shows again, since so far Disney Plus has not gone according to plan. They've gotten a lot of subscribers, but so far they've pretty much just lost money, especially over the last year. It was reported I think they lost over $1 billion just on streaming. Disney recently also laid off 7,000 employees, so things aren't great. Things could be better over on Disney on the financial side, and we're hearing they're going to start scaling back on product. Just this year, they're not going to release nearly as much content as they did for Phase 4, which is definitely a good thing. Not just, to save them money, but also from a quality standpoint. The more products you're putting out, the harder it is to control quality control. So to me, it makes sense all around, which we'll get into in a later story. But I hope they bring back Jessica Jones and Luke Cage. I love those shows. I would love to see them back in the MCU, but hopefully with better quality shows than we got out of Phase 4. I think pretty much the only really, really good shows in Phase 4, in my opinion. I mean, it was pretty much just What If, but Werewolf by Night wasn't a show, but it was really high up there in terms of quality. So I'm hoping that's what we get going forward. They not only, scale back, but also put their best foot forward in terms of the creatives they put on these projects, because it's become clear that people aren't going to take anything. Speaking of quality, we heard this report, which is hilarious to me. Over on DC, speaking of, having problems, Jason Momoa reportedly exiting Aquaman due to terrible upcoming movie. We have this from the Durag. A new report came to light that indicated Aquaman 2 and the Lost Kingdom star Jason Momoa plans on leaving the titular hero behind due to the subpar quality of the upcoming sequel. Needless to say, the future of Aquaman's franchise is shaping up so well. According to new rumors, test screenings for the project have gone very poorly. Some felt it was possibly one of the worst DCU movies yet. Others even walked out. The upcoming sequel also has an unfortunate spot of being the very last film in the DCU continuity Momoa started out in. Really makes Lost Kingdom that much harder to be excited for. Thanks to reliable insider Jeff Snyder, fans have word on Jason Momoa's future in the DCU. According to him, he heard Aquaman Lost Kingdom is terrible, and that Momoa is going to be Lobo going forward. I hear it's terrible, and that's why Momoa is going to be Lobo going forward. But they can't say that yet, because then it would be a lame duck, and DC is hoping to wring another $1 billion out of the box office. First one was awful too, so not a huge surprise. So, I mean, I don't know if this is... I mean, the insider is pretty reliable, and it would not surprise me at all if Aquaman 2 is bad. I didn't think the first one was that good, but it did make some money. I can definitely see people walking out of the theater, of the test screening for the second one. If Amber Heard's in there, there's going to be some Amber Heard people that are going to be like, nope, nope and out. This is definitely an awkward film because, like I said, it is technically not part of the new continuity. It's getting retconned. Everything's pretty much getting rebooted with the Flash movie, and then you just have Aquaman 2 sitting there awkwardly. I didn't have much hope for it going forward. I feel like, Jason Momoa should definitely go forward as Lobo. He's literally perfect for the role, and Aquaman 2 is not something that I think is going to move the needle one way or another. As far as being possibly the worst, that's crazy if that's true, because they put up some duds for DC. Batgirl was so bad apparently that they didn't even let it see the light of day. But it's possible that the test screenings for that were even better. I thought I heard. Black Adam was not great. So I don't know. It's got some competition. I think Shazam 2, if anything, is going to be the worst DC film because that looks horrible. We haven't really seen anything trailer wise for Aquaman 2 as far as I see. But I have a if I'm gonna be a betting man, I'd say Aquaman 2 will be a bit better than Shazam 2, but if Amber Heard's in it, there'll be that extra layer of backlash against Aquaman 2. I don't think either movie is going to be particularly good, and I think DC is going to go out of the previous phase of the Snyder era on a couple bad notes, which not ideal, but it's the hand they were dealt. Ideally, I think if they could have made it possible, I think the last DC movie of the year should have been The Flash. To me, that's just much cleaner. You're rebooting everything, and you just have Flash as the last project. Then you go into 2024, clean slate, everything's rebooted. We're going forward, but it's gonna be a little weird because even though they didn't want to outright say it, obviously because they want to make sure people actually go see this movie. It's pretty pointless in the continuity standpoint, so you have that working against it, plus the possible lack of quality. This could definitely be a dud for DC, but we'll see. I'm personally not going to see it in theaters for sure, or maybe I'll catch it on HBO Max, but definitely not something I'm interested in. Speaking of box office, we got some numbers for Ant-Man 3. We just did a review for it. If you haven't, definitely check that out on the channel as an excerpt from the podcast. But critics didn't like it very much. I thought it was mid, but it's sitting at about an 80%, 84% on Rotten Tomatoes for the audience score, but the critic score is at 47%, which is currently tied with Eternals for the worst rated MCU film ever. I personally thought there were MCU films much worse than Ant-Man 3 released last year, in fact. But it looks like it made a little bit of money in this 3-day debut. It grossed 104 million, 225 million worldwide, which is 37% higher than the last Ant-Man film. Now, obviously, you have to take inflation and everything into account. And if you do that, this film isn't really shaping up to blow the doors off of anyone. And, based on all the CGI, they definitely spent a lot of money on Ant-Man 3, not including marketing. I think the last MCU films haven't gone below 200 million in budget. So if Ant-Man is on pace to maybe hit 600 million, that's going to be another unfortunate L for Marvel, especially with this one. They were hoping to, they were hilariously enough making this seem like it could be like the new Civil War, new Captain America Civil War. They're bringing in the big bad. It's supposed to be this big event with Kang the Conqueror, and Darth Avengers was awesome, but did not pan out that way. Film definitely could have been much better, and this is definitely not on par. Unless a miracle happens, we're not going to get a no way home situation. This doesn't look like it's even going to surpass Thor: Love and Thunder, which was also a box office disappointment from Marvel's perspective. So not the best start for Phase 5. Not what they were hoping for. They were definitely hoping to clear at least $1 billion on Ant-Man 3, considering the stakes and and the introduction of Kang, the new Thanos, and it just not worked out so far. Not surprising, seeing the actual movie, because even though I think it's nearly as bad as the critics were making it out to be, I don't think it's going to be good enough to generate really positive word of mouth. I didn't hate it. I thought it was mid, but I'm not going to run out and tell people, oh yeah, you got to see that Ant-Man 3. We're going to break it down in more detail this Friday on the After Show podcast with a spoiler review. And me and Jay are going to break it down more in depth. But yeah, I mean, if you haven't seen it yet, you definitely look out for that. Look out for that podcast if you're not that interested, or you feel like it's going to be mid or worse, because you might hate it. You might. I personally didn't even go out to the theater to see it, because I mean, I knew in my heart it was going to be mid, and I just couldn't bring myself to go out to the theaters, spend all that money on what I thought was definitely going to be mid, and I'm glad I didn't. Shout out to the pirate ship for taking me aboard. We got some more bad news for Marvel. It looks like Marvel executive says Robert Downey Jr. is no longer on the table in regards to speculation that he would be coming back. Now, this could be a smokescreen, but it could also just be the case. Here, the exec said that he's no longer on the table, and that we're not going to see Robert Downey Jr. back. Speaking to I0N, Marvel Studios VP of Production Development Stephen Broussard discussed how Phase 4 was all about a new generation step into the forefront, as characters like Robert Downey Jr.'s Iron Man no longer being on the table. I think one of the meta-narratives of Phase 4 was about new characters. It was about new people stepping into mantles. If you look at like Cassie Lang and Quantumania getting a suit, and Kate Bishop and Hawkeye, new characters being introduced like Jack and Werewolf by Night. After these first 10 years of Marvel storytelling, torches are being passed, like Robert Downey Jr. no longer being on the table and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a new generation step into the forefront, which again has always happened in comics. Oof, not a good sign, and definitely not something you want to cite in terms of the comics, because the comics that they're talking about of legacy characters stepping down and new characters taking their place, all new, all different, have completely tanked Marvel and DC as well. This would definitely be disappointing. I mean, I'm not expecting necessarily Downey to come back, permanently, like nothing happened. But to me, it would be weird, considering the projects that they have coming up, if Downey's Iron Man had no appearance whatsoever. Because, you have, there are several projects that he could have cameos in. You have Armor Wars, which is about War Machine. You can easily see that. You have Ironheart. If you recall, even a comic storyline, Iron Man is a part of Ironheart's story, because Tony comes back as an AI and helps guide Riri Williams on her journey to becoming the new, more diverse Iron Man. So even in that story, you had Tony coming back. You're also doing, Secret Wars. So you're going to have, alternate variants. You have variants of all these different characters popping up. It'll be like Endgame, but with variants and everything like that. So that would be a perfect time to bring back some of the older characters, some of the fan favorites, including Iron Man, who's obviously, because of the multiverse, would be alive in some variation. It would make perfect sense as a cameo, and that's why I think he'll ultimately be. I'd be very surprised if he doesn't appear in Secret Wars at all. But it's not something I would expect them to admit because they want to keep it a surprise, and we're pretty far off from Secret Wars. It's also possible that if he's saying it like this, either he's trying to throw us off, or legitimately this could happen. I'll tell you right now, if it's truly off the table, it's not because of them being this committed to having all these new characters that people, quite frankly, have not reacted to well in either the MCU or in the comics. Instead, it'll probably be because of contract negotiations. Robert Downey Jr. was ready to move on, but I thought that because Robert Downey Jr. has not had a successful movie since he left the MCU, he'd be more open to returning, at least a little bit. That's still my opinion. I think more likely Robert Downey Jr. will come back at some point, at least as a cameo in Secret Wars. But I'll tell you right now, if their plan is to push Riri Williams and Kate Bishop to carry the new MCU going forward, Disney Marvel is dead. Not, if you thought the box office numbers were bad now, wait until you see them try to have Kate Bishop carry her own movie. That is not a thing that's going to happen. So hopefully they at the very least are smart enough to know that when it comes to at least Secret Wars, go for the fan service. Get back whoever you can get back, bring them in, give the fans what they want, and you will be rewarded for it. Because if it's Secret Wars pops up and we don't have any of these legacy characters, we just have all these. We have Captain Marvel, Brie Larson, and She-Hulk, and Kamala and Kate Bishop. it's not going to be great. You at the very least have some big name characters like Spider-Man. Assuming the well, we know that Tom is coming back for Spider-Man 4. Hopefully they don't end up replacing him. Because he did make a mention in the beginning. I mean, right after No Way Home, he did mention his desire to take a break from acting and have a more diverse Spider person take over his mantle. So hopefully they showed him enough money to talk him out of that nonsense, and we get Tom helping lead the way in the new era. But yeah, Marvel definitely needs some heavy hitters, and this does get into the story about why the delays we've been seeing are a good thing. So far, we've seen some pretty significant delays. We had Echo. That show was moved from summer 2023 to early 2024. Web Season 2 looks like it was moved to 2024. The Agatha Coven of Chaos looks like it was moved as well. Reportedly until after Daredevil Born Again. And of course, the Blade movie was now pushed to 2024. It was originally supposed to drop in 2022. Then it was shifted to November 2023, now to October 2024. I mean, that project looks like it's in a lot of trouble already. They had to get a whole new team. Basically, they started the whole thing from scratch. So if Marvel is truly learning from its mistakes, that's probably a good thing. And we have the Marvels just got a smaller delay, but that was pushed from the summer to November. Now Ironheart looks like it's being pushed to 2024. Now some of these shows definitely didn't need to be made. I mean, I don't know why someone thought Echo was a good idea on any level. I could see as Exec talking themselves into Agatha, House of Harkness, because it was Agatha all along, was such a slapper. People seem to really take to the character and Catherine Hahn, so I can see an Exec talking themselves into that one. Echo was a weird choice. Like that was that was not a response to memes or viral fan interest. That was just someone was just determined to bring Echo into the MCU, and weird weird that they were that determined and passionate about Echo, but it is what it is. That's what we're getting. But I do think these delays are a good thing, and that Marvel going forward should scale back what they're doing in terms of their production, because the quality has noticeably suffered. I mean, I'm not the only person. People say I'm too harsh of a critic, but I'm by no means the only person who noticed that Phase 4 is pretty far behind a lot of the other phases in terms of, especially 3, in terms of overall product and quality. They had some alright stuff, and there's definitely some stuff people enjoyed, but for most people, it seems like No Way Home was pretty much the highlight, and that, let's be honest, that was mainly because they were milking nostalgia. if you had No Way Home, if there was no Toby, no Andrew, No Way Home would have been mid as hell. Like that one was not great. I thought Werewolf by Night was legitimately a great film, but I thought pretty much everything else, was deeply flawed. For me, my top projects were No Way Home, What If, and Werewolf by Night. The rest was pretty mid or just awful in some cases, which wasn't something we really got from Marvel in the past. Like, people talk about how Thor: Dark World and Iron Man 3 were all, so terrible, but I mean, if you rewatch them and you compare that to some of the stuff we got Phase 4, they're still watchable. Like, some of the stuff in Phase 4 is like, oh, what is happening? So I'm not going to be too broken up about it if Marvel wants to scale back. I think that's for the best, not just for the sake of the quality, but to kind of give that anticipation back. I don't believe in superhero fatigue, but I do think it seems, people may seem like that's what's happening. It's just because of the quality of the product has just been dropping. So I think if they kind of make Marvel projects kind of an event again, instead of trying to have a new Marvel product out every couple months, I think it'll kind of add that mystique back. Well, fatigue. And, also obviously increase the quality, have, good writers, not, people who've never handled a $200 million project before, not people who are activists. Just get good writers, good directors, good creatives who know what they're doing, who have a proven track record, put them on these projects, and have them come out. Like, obviously, there's a very, very small minority of people who are passionate about Phase 4, but let's be honest, Phase 4. The only thing I can say about Phase 4 is that the quality. I can't even say that about the quality of the shows, because Phase 4 just had more Marvel shows, because they again went for quantity over quality. But even though there weren't that many Marvel shows back in the earlier phases, they were much better. Like, you had on the very low end for Marvel shows back then, you had like the Inhumans, and then you had Agents of Shield, which was good, but it was a very long it was a very long running show, so it was good. It had some seasons that were mid, but overall it was a solid series and lasted a long time. I think like 6 seasons. But then you had the Netflix stuff. You had Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. You know, out of all of them, the worst one of them was like Iron Fist, and that's mainly because you were comparing it to classics like Daredevil. like, like I would watch Iron Fist over a lot of the Disney Plus shows that we got. So I'm not surprised that people are willingly pretty much asking Marvel to like dial it back, because there has definitely been a quality drop off. And it's been very noticeable. If I'm seeing casual fans notice it, it's definitely something that is worth noting. And it looks like Disney is taking that to heart, I think mainly financially, because you know they obviously believe in what they were doing, otherwise they wouldn't have done it. But you know, at the end of the day, Disney cares about money above all else, and they aren't going to just keep plowing full steam ahead if what they're doing isn't making any money, because that's what they care about the most. All their values, none of it matters when it comes to money. So if they're losing money, they will find a way to right the ship no matter what. So now we're going to get into some gaming news, and we got some really cool stories for that. This one I'll briefly cover because it looks like it's a pretty significant story. We had a data breach with Activision Blizzard, which is a big deal. The last major data breach I remember was from GTA, but I'm sure there have been more since then. But I know Rockstar had that really worldwide famous leak where they got hacked and a bunch of GTA 6 stuff got out. This one seems pretty bad as well. Insider Gaming has been able to verify the legitimacy of an alleged Activision data breach from Twitter user on VX Underground, who recently posted key Call of Duty details to his Twitter account. Although the user has only posted several images on Twitter regarding the release slate of Modern Warfare 2 DLCs, Insider Gaming has been able to obtain the entirety of the data breach. That obtained contains plans for Modern Warfare 2's upcoming DLCs, Call of Duty 2023, codenamed Jupiter, and Call of Duty 2024, codenamed Cerberus, as well as sensitive employee information. Employee information obtained includes full names, emails, phone numbers, salaries, place of work addresses, and more. Now, personally, I don't care about Call of Duty. I hate Call of Duty. I have no interest in the specifics of those Call of Duty games, but the employee thing is pretty bad. I know that there's always a debate about leak culture, but this is I think where leak culture, where I draw the line. Like, it's one thing for someone to be a data miner or somebody with insider access to, drop a little gem on Twitter, like, hey, look out for this or something. But when it comes to actually hacking a company and breaching the private data of their employees, that's a problem, and it should be condemned 100%. I don't care if you're excited about the information in terms of the game that you like. And again, I stress Call of Duty is dog water. I don't care about it at all. But if you're taking the information of employees, that's a huge problem. And I hope whoever is responsible for this breach is thrown in prison. Like I'm a fan of good ethical leaking. I'm not a fan of accessing the personal information of employees and putting it out there or using it for blackmail or extortion purposes. I think that sort of thing has no place anywhere, and I hope they catch whoever did this and punish them to the fullest extent of the law. I'm definitely not a fan of Activision personally. Activision Blizzard has a pretty great reputation, have a pretty big reputation of being a horrible company who treat their employees terribly, but all the more reason to be on the side against the hacker, because they're making employees' lives who are probably already pretty bad because they work at Activision Blizzard even worse. You know, don't if you're gonna leak a game, do that. Leave the employees out of it. Do not get them involved. We'll get to devs stuff in a minute, but thought that was just worth mentioning. Also got some more information on Jedi Survivor. I did a reaction to the gameplay, and it shows off us a little bit of lightsaber combat, and it shows that dismemberment while lightsaber combat will be a thing. So the combat in Jedi Survivor is going to be more brutal, more I say mature, which is a good thing. Lightsabers are awesome, and I love just the idea of being able to rip enemies in half, either with the Force or with lightsabers. Bring that on. Of course, Jedi Survivor was delayed until April by about 6 weeks, but for this entire month, IGN is going to be doing exclusive coverage for Jedi Survivor, and that included that 9 minutes of extended gameplay, which I showed off on the channel and reacted to, which looked really good. I hope that the game launches in a good state, because I remember the first game in the series, Fallen Order, had some significant issues at launch. Hopefully with this delay, it's because they're trying to be extra careful and not just because the game is just unfinished in terms of polish, because there's a lot of hype for Jedi Survivor for good reason. Fallen Order, in my opinion, was a classic. So I would hate for any of that to be ruined, and for obviously for gamers who spent their hard-earned money on the game to get something that isn't working properly at launch. So if they need to delay, take the delay, fix up the game. But I'm hoping it's not one of those cases where even when a game is delayed, it still doesn't launch in a good state. But Respawn's a pretty good company, so I'm going to try to be optimistic that even though the delay was pretty close to launch, they're far enough along that they'll be able to polish it up and have it in good working order by the time April rolls around. Now, we got some really good Suicide Squad information. Now, earlier I thought this was going to be the extent of the Suicide Squad information today. We got the first confirmed Suicide Squad DLC. It will be a free DLC for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. After the game's launch, the prequel book series for Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League will be available. Those who purchase the comics will also receive cosmetic items that can be used in the game, allowing fans to further explore the game's storyline and earn additional rewards. Readers who purchase the comic book series with each purchase will receive a digital code for a free in-game cost with each purchase of the comic book series. I think they meant cosmetic. So it sounds definitely get an editor. So basically sounds like if you buy the comic, you can redeem it to get some additional goodies in Suicide Squad Kill Justice League. We know that it will be obviously a live service game. The leak was confirmed to be legitimate. It will be a live service game to some degree. Suicide Squad Kill Justice League confirmed to have a battle pass. It is real. That screenshot was real. We don't know the extent, but we do know now that there will at least be DLC. Gotham Knights had a similar thing where you could get comics related to the storyline, and it would be redeemable for in-game cosmetics. So this looks like it will be available at launch. And if you want to get some more context to the story of Suicide Squad Kill Justice League, kind of what led up to the events of the game, or you just want to redeem it for some free in-game items, you can definitely do that. But the bigger Suicide Squad Kill Justice League story is that it's going to be at State of Play. Now, I think for the last month, at least the last month, I believe, I've been telling y'all about the upcoming State of Play. I think I did it even a few weeks ago in one of my Spider-Man videos, because Jeff Grubb, industry insider, for those Marvel's Avengers fans, he's basically Miller on steroids. He mentioned on his podcast that Sony was planning 2 events in the next several months. A State of Play, which he said would happen in a month or less, and a PlayStation showcase, an official PlayStation showcase that will come out before E3, because Sony is not going to be attending E3. So instead, he said they're going to have a PlayStation showcase that's going to come out before E3. And he said the State of Play would be smaller, lower in terms of, the crazy big Sony exclusive games they'd be showing off, but that the showcases where they'd be really showing off all the cool stuff like Spider-Man 2 is probably where we'll be able to expect that. But he didn't have much on what we would see at the State of Play, but he said that the biggest stuff would be at the showcase, which is great because the showcase, of course, was canceled last year. And as a result, we didn't get to see any new footage for Spider-Man 2 PS5. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But people have been asking a lot about Suicide Squad Kill Justice League, because that game is supposed to come out in May. And so far, the only thing we've gotten pretty much have been trailers that are basically showing off the the dialogue, the interactions, basically nothing gameplay wise except for a small 2-minute gameplay trailer. They came out at the top of the year, but no extended gameplay. It's mostly just been story trailers. And now that we're a couple months out from the actual release date, it looks like they're going to be ramping it up. WB, just launched Hogwarts Legacy, massive success there, and we were speculating that after kind of Hogwarts Legacy, got out the door, we'd see WB start talking about Suicide Squad more and start promoting that more, because that they're going to have to unless they're delaying it. So hopefully the announcement that accompanies this extended look at the game isn't a delay, and that they're able to keep that May release date or move it up, which we saw happen with Gotham Knights. It would be unfortunate if it got delayed. It would not surprise me if it got delayed, considering how long it's been since we got anything substantial, but we'll have to see about it. The State of Play is at Thursday, 1 p.m. West Coast time. Shout out to Jeff Grubb. for batting 100. Jeff Grubb once again coming through with another banger leak. He called it. He legit said, a month or less from now, new PlayStation State of Play, and right on the money. less than a month from when he said that on his podcast, we got a new State of Play. And according to PlayStation, they're going to have news, of course, PSVR. We expected that. They're really trying to push that PSVR too. They got some hot indie and third-party reveals. We'll see about that. And of course, an extended look at Suicide Squad Kill Justice League. That's been, to me, that's the highlight of that. Hopefully that extended look is extended gameplay. I know I had a viral tweet not too long ago, specifically about extended gameplay, because I showed a little bit of the gameplay. I've showed all the gameplay that currently exists for the game. There were a lot of people that didn't even know that existed. And there were other people who were just butthurt that this was going to potentially be a live service game. And there are others that were saying, yeah, but we need more. So hopefully that gives us more, and it's not another CG trailer. Like the Kevin Conroy Batman trailer that they showed at the Game Awards in December was dope, but the game's about to come out. It's time to show us some like real gameplay and dive into exactly what this game is, unless they're planning on delaying it, because it's definitely tough. It's definitely tough. We also had a little Marvel's Avengers story, which I just thought was hilarious. Former director for studio of Crystal Dynamics, Marvel's Avengers, apologized to fans for the disappointment caused by the title, allegedly. According to Games Radar, former creative director Caesar Vertosu, who I've never heard of, and I know way too much about this game, expressed his regret for Marvel's Avengers' lackluster run. He said developers were faced with difficulties throughout the game's production, though he did not specifically state what hurdles the team might have faced. I mean, I'm personally looking for a more juicy story. I know Miller is working on some stuff. For sure. He's working on stuff behind the scenes, and I'm still waiting for that Marvel's Avengers tell-all, talking about what really went down behind the scenes. But I guess cool now that there were a lot of regrets for sure to be had about Marvel's Avengers. The last update, of course, is next month for Marvel's Avengers. It'll be the last patch. We'll definitely cover that, and then that'll be it for Avengers. But I've definitely moved on, and I'm definitely waiting for Suicide Squad. Now, here's a story that I'm really want to get into. So, first off, Insomniac finally addresses the trailer. Someone on Twitter said, "Hey there, sorry to bother you guys. Are we getting a new gameplay trailer before a release of Spider-Man 2? Again, sorry for a little impatience." And Insomniac responded, "Yeah, there will be a trailer before it releases." See, this interaction is how you express a desire or make a request of a game company. You go to the company's Twitter, you respectfully ask your question, and you move on. Now, was this a stupid question? Yes. Obviously, they're going to have a new trailer before the game comes out. But this person made sure they were respectful, acknowledged their impatience, and asked politely if there would be a new trailer. Now, sadly, this is not Insomniac, confirming something was imminent. We're obviously hoping for a trailer to come sooner rather than later, but I think with the PlayStation Showcase, we'll be definitely getting something relatively soon. Since E3 is in May, I'm guessing the PlayStation Showcase either will be early June before E3, or potentially in May. That's going by Jeff Grubb's intel, which turned out to be spot on because he correctly projected the state of play, which was just announced. This is not how you get the attention of the devs. So shout out to Aaron. He's community manager for Insomniac Games. Really cool guy. He tweeted out, "You can request, plead, and demand, but sending death threats isn't the best strategy for getting information about a video game." Now, crazy that you have to tell people this, but people on the internet, you gave people the internet. This is unfortunately the downside. You have a bunch of weirdos who have no patience, can't wait for the trailer for the game that doesn't come out until fall 2023. They think that the best way to get what they want is to harass the developers and send them death threats. And this is literally what I was talking about right on the podcast. They told you, Insomniac told you, Spider-Man 2 is coming out fall 2023. Okay? We got that. It's fall 2023. That's all you need to know. When they're closer, when they're ready, when they deem it is time for them to start promoting the game, which again, if you've been following my channel, you know will likely be at the PlayStation Showcase, which looks like will happen in a few months. That'll likely be when we get a little more from Spider-Man 2, because we'll be around the summer, we'll be closer to fall. But even if Insomniac decided not to release a trailer until September, so what? You're buying the game anyway. Shut up and wait for it. You're not owed anything. You haven't bought the game. You're not entitled to anything. It's their game. They can release the trailer when they're good and goddamn ready to release the trailer. This is what I was talking about earlier on the podcast. Insomniac is arguably the best game studio in the entire world, and they have the most ungrateful and toxic fans I've ever seen relative to the quality of the brand they're following. Like, it'd be one thing if this was like Activision Blizzard fans. Like, Call of Duty has one of the most toxic player bases ever. Obviously, it's a PvP game. Activision Blizzard is a toxic studio. It's a toxic environment all around. Call of Duty, they basically release the same game every year. It's a grift, but that's their clientele. That's what we expect. Insomniac releases nothing but bangers. They respect the community. They interact on social media all the time, even for games that are single player and have not. They mainly do single player games. They have games that have even old games. If you do photo mode stuff, they'll share it. They love their community. They always engage. They're transparent. They don't play around. They don't exploit players with like predatory practices. They release high quality games time and time again, consistently. And unfortunately, and I think this is the Marvel component, because they're doing Spider-Man games, it's bringing in the Spider-Man fandom, which has some of the worst people you'll ever encounter. Like, I wish this was the first time Insomniac dealt with something like this, but it's not, as I outlined in my rant. They dealt with the same nonsense right before Spider-Man PS4 even came out. Like, before they were known as, Insomniac Spider-Man, it wasn't out yet. It wasn't, the classic that we know it now wasn't even out yet. People were complaining. Fans were complaining and being toxic about it on social media because they saw, they were whining about puddles. They were whining about the advanced suit, which now is consensus is that the advanced suit is one of the best Spider-Man suits ever made. But before the advanced suit even came out, before the game even came out, you had a bunch of fans who were complaining about the suit, saying it was bad, it was ugly, change it, it sucks, all this nonsense. And then even after the game came out and became a huge success, they redirected their toxicity towards that overrated Tobey Maguire suit, because they didn't have that in the game at launch, because they were working on it, they were trying to get it right, it wasn't ready. But because these toxic, chronically online crybabies couldn't wait literally a few months for that mid-ass suit, they created this whole harassment campaign against Insomniac and the devs, trying to bully them into releasing that stupid Tobey Maguire suit. And Insomniac releases that stupid suit anyway, and they take that opportunity to complain some more. Like, why did we have to complain in order for you to release a suit? They were literally doing it anyway. And then there were people complaining that it didn't look exactly like the poster. Like, y'all are weird. Like, straight up, if you've ever sent a death threat to a dev or a video game, you're weird. You are weird. You have no friends. You are a loser. Point blank, period. It is a video game. It is not life or death. It is not your family member. It is a video game. It is a product. You pay money for it. You get some entertainment out of it. You move on with your life. Do not make it your identity. Do not make it to the point where you're literally willing to threaten somebody's life because you didn't get a trailer fast enough. That is beyond just, obviously we say touch grass. That goes beyond touch grass. You need to touch a therapist now. If you're one of these losers that have been setting death threats to Insomniac devs. These devs did nothing to you. All they do is put their heads down and rep the community, rep the Spider-Man brand, whatever they're working with, and put out good product that people love. And because you can't wait, a couple months for the next PlayStation showcase, you think that if you harass them enough, they're going to just stealth drop the trailer? They're just going to drop the trailer like, I guess you got us. We had this whole thing planned for the PlayStation showcase to do a whole presentation for Spider-Man 2, but well, I guess because Noob Killer 77 on Twitter is impatient, we got to throw our plans out the window and just release something. No, they're not going to do that. All you're going to do is make them hate you more and potentially make things worse for the rest of us, because the more this sort of stuff happens, the less devs are going to want to go out of their way to do things for the community, and the less they're going to want to even engage with the community at all. Like, trust me, the worst case scenario, it could get worse. Like, studios can just there are some studios who just don't engage with the community at all. They don't care. They don't care about your feedback. They put out the product and they say, here, shut up and take it. Like, like if you look at how down bad the NBA 2K23 community is, that's the other end of the Insomniac spectrum. 2K23, they basically release the same game every year. They finesse the players with microtransactions every year. They don't care about your feedback. In fact, one of their community rep will sometimes actively mock the players who are complaining about stuff. You don't want it to get that bad. It could be way worse. That's what makes me so angry when it comes to Insomniac, because they're not one of those companies. They don't abuse their employees. They don't disrespect their fans. They don't release bad games. They try their hardest. They release great quality games. They treat their employees and the community well. And you still have these weirdos because they feel entitled to everything because their parents didn't give them enough attention, or their parents give them too much. They have to get everything. They need everything now. I need it now. I need it now. I need everything now. Oh, it's been too long. I want the trailer. So what? You're not getting the trailer. Too bad. You'll live. You will live without this trailer. The trailer will come out when it comes out. Shut up and wait. Be patient. Be a normal, functional human being for once in your life. Stop harassing these people. Shut up. Wait for the trailer. You're gonna buy the game anyway, regardless. If they never did a trailer, honestly, I hope they don't even do it. Like, it would be hilarious if they don't even do another trailer. Everyone still buy the game. Like, if I was in charge, or if I was in charge over there, I'd be so petty. I would be so petty. You know what I would do? I would release the trailer the day the game comes out. Literally, midnight. The game is live. It's available for download. I'd release a Spider-Man 2 trailer the day of. Literally, the day it's downloadable, I would drop the trailer just out of spite. That's how petty I am personally. But Insomniac, they aren't me. They're not that petty. They're gonna release a trailer. They're gonna do a gameplay showcase. It's gonna be amazing. People are gonna love it, and I'm gonna be annoyed while I'm enjoying it because of these weirdos who have no patience, no home training, who can't literally just wait for a trailer. Like, they have to send death threats because it's not out fast enough. Like, it's going to actively affect my enjoyment now of the game and the trailer, because I know that when they finally do release the trailer, those idiots are going to treat that as some kind of validation. So that's why personally I would be as petty as I possibly can with this, with it. But that's why Insomniac are great people. They're going, and a great company. They're gonna still do it because they're going to think about the majority of the fans who aren't toxic weirdos, who have friends, who aren't going to die virgins, who are excited about the game, but aren't so over the top that they can't simply just take what they've been given and just be okay with it until they're ready to show something. Like, there are so many games out this year. You don't need Insomniac to have this trailer. Literally play anything else. A new game just dropped. Hogwarts Legacy just dropped. Atomic Heart just dropped. Jedi Survivor's dropping. We're getting a State of Play on Thursday. We're getting Suicide Squad. There's something for everybody. You can wait for an Insomniac trailer. Like, please get some help if this is you. And that was the last story of the day that I wanted to cover. So we'll go over to the chat for a little bit. We'll chop it up with y'all. Appreciate y'all hanging out. If you missed any part of this live stream, we'll of course be cutting these up, turning them into individual segments. What up, Captay? Dot Slayer, Travis. People on 2K just I'll pay $100 plus for a card that's only going to be good for 2 weeks, 3 weeks. And the crazy thing about 2K is that even if you don't want to engage in my team, which is obviously gambling, even if you just want to play my career, that's a build that's still going to cost you like $200. Just so you can play online with your friends and not have a trash build, it's going to cost you $200 per build. Wow. What is taking Insomniac so long to put Spider-Man 2 gameplay on YouTube? What's taking them so long is that they're likely waiting for their PlayStation Showcase, which the PlayStation Showcase was delayed. They didn't have it last year like they were having them, according to Jeff Grubb. it's going to happen. The showcase is going to happen in a couple months. He said not long after the state of play, we're going to have the showcase. So talk to Sony. That's on them. They obviously have a marketing plan for the game. We had a Spider-Man 2 teaser a couple weeks ago from Sony, so we know they're getting close to the marketing. I know people want to see the gameplay, but the gameplay will come out when it comes out. Just be patient. That's why you need Midnight Suns. Yeah, they definitely did a hurry up release that PS4 version. Amen to that. Should feel much better after getting all that off your chest. I feel great. I always feel great when I get to dunk on idiots. You have so much anger inside you that it's possible it's definitely possible for you to control. I definitely recommend seeking therapy. There's plenty of therapy available and medication for people who have anger control issues that work wonders. Plus an arm and a leg to upgrade a player to 2K. Big facts. Any update on the Activision deal? As far as I know, it's still extremely petty over there, but it's probably going through. Stay and play this Thursday. Yep, we covered that already. To be honest, she'll take story trailers over gameplay. I'll take either or both. You believe it'll be dark till May or June for Spider-Man? Yep. Like I said, I literally think they're just waiting for the PlayStation showcase. I think Sony is straight up like, we need our PlayStation showcase to pop. We know that the biggest game we're going to release this year is Spider-Man 2 PS5. You know, obviously, sorry Final Fantasy 16 fans, but more people are definitely going to be hyped for Spider-Man 2 PS5. That's just going to be reality. So if Sony's going to have their showcase, they're going to want Insomniac there. Insomniac did not do their first reveal for Spider-Man 2 or Wolverine by themselves. They did it at a PlayStation showcase. I don't understand why people are harassing Insomniac about it anyway, when literally it's obvious that they're only going to be showing this stuff at a showcase. So if you're wondering why there's no Spider-Man showcase, it's because there's literally been no PlayStation showcase. Whenever there's a PlayStation showcase, expect to see Spider-Man 2. While Shell got Legendary Red and almost every stream, they're bringing it out of me. Who was doing Wolverine? Insomniac. Now, if you answer this, when is the PS showcase? According to Jeff Grubb, the PlayStation showcase is happening sometime before E3. E3 happens this June 13th. Jeff Grubb already predicted the state of play, which was just announced. And he said that the PlayStation showcase would happen not that long after the state of play. So early June, because the E3 is the 13th. So early June, possibly May for that PlayStation showcase. And at that, we can expect most likely to see both Final Fantasy 16 and Spider-Man 2 PS5 shown off there. And all the fanboys can finally start crying and find something else to cry about, because you know they're going to cry about something. These people that be sending death threats gotta be lonely people living in their mom's basement. Facts. They're probably Call of Duty players too. Screaming at their mom to bring them chicken nuggets. It's absolute parasites. See that you're doing everything you love. Keep on grinding, never give up. For those who praying your downfall, ignore them all. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Appreciate that, Black Prisma. Yeah, for sure. There's I guarantee you, out of all the people, if you go through every single person, if you found them all, every person who sent death threats to Insomniac devs over them not releasing any gameplay or trailer fast enough, not a single one of them is a successful business owner with a active social life, with a girlfriend or a wife or any significant other. They probably don't bathe themselves regularly. They're not in good shape. There's no functional member of society with anything good going on in their life who's sending those death threats. Every single one of those people who are sending death threats to the Insomniac devs over Spider-Man 2 are just absolute losers. 100%. What up with Black King? Welcome. Facts. There's no one. It's like no one has ever sent a death threat to a dev over a video game that has a good life. There's no functional member of society who's ever done who would ever even consider that. It's never happened. It never will happen. Every single one of them is a failure. They have us release date. They give us teasers with more to people. They want everything. They want everything now. Because you know what's going to happen, right? If Insomniac releases another trailer, and it's not like 8 minutes of extended gameplay, they're going to go from whining about there not being a new trailer to whining about there being no gameplay. Where's the gameplay? Where's the extended gameplay? That's going to be the new narrative. Then if they show extended gameplay, the new narrative is like, well, where's the release date? Fall 2023. That could be any. Where's the release date? They're always gonna find something because they're losers. They want everything now. They are completely entitled. They will always find something, anything. Whether it's the eyes on the suit or a lack of a specific suit that they want, they're going to find something. They're always going to find something. I always assume people will send in death threats or just kids on Twitter. Some of them are kids on Twitter. Some of them are fully grown adults who life did not work out well for. Meanwhile, Midnight Suns had a dev stream and people were having a fun time over Venom today. Yep, Venom dropping this week. Only a month after the Deadpool DLC. They're moving. Is that with every comic movie? But it's not even every. Like, there's definitely a correlation though between toxic fans and comic book properties. There's definitely a correlation there. we definitely see there's definitely something there, especially when Spider-Man is involved. People get really weird on the internet when Spider-Man is involved. It's not quite the same for every character. Like Wolverine fans aren't that weird. Wolverine fans tend to be chill. For some reason though, Spider-Man fans really bring out the weirdos. It's something I've definitely noticed. Watch they do this over the Toby Black suit skin. Oh yeah. Let the symbiote suit get shown off. They're gonna be like, well, I don't want that symbiote suit. I want Tobey Maguire's symbiote suit. That's the best symbiote suit. Where's Tobey Maguire's symbiote? Shut up. You already know it's coming. What's the most dangerous job in the world for 2023? Being a dev. I would go that far, but it's definitely one of the most emotionally draining jobs. Not even just being a dev. Like being a dev definitely can be, horrible for your mental health if you're with a bad company who's, believes in crunch. Being a community manager, that's rough. You blame Evan? Did we do the same thing with the Iron Man suit that dropped in Avengers? I know a lot of people were complaining about all sorts of skins in Avengers, but I mean it was Avengers. The blowback was always relatively small. For Avengers, most of the toxicity about skins was either about the pricing or about hair. That's what it was made of. Oh, the hair is wrong, or because Avengers would release suits and they release skins and they wouldn't be completely accurate. They would cut corners or they would make really weird personal changes that didn't make any sense. What's up, Isaiah? My Suicide Squad, definitely can't wait in March to get the rest of the skins. Yeah. Now Avengers won't have much to complain about anymore. Avengers is over, and the last patch is next month, and you'll get all the skins you always wanted for free. Well, not the ones you always wanted, but all the skins available will be free. You're never getting any more Spider-Man skins. There's definitely some MCU skins they missed out on, but they released a lot of, they made a lot of skins. Vendors deserve to hate. I will say devs don't deserve, individual devs don't deserve hate. Obviously, Brian Wagner definitely deserved to be criticized, but even him, I wouldn't want people sending death threats to Brian, just because he happens to be, a terrible person. I don't think you should be sending people death threats, because at the end of the day, his big crime was being the lead dev of a failed live service game, and just in general being a bad person who can't take criticism, who talks trash behind people's backs. Time for Spider-Man, which your most anticipated games of the year. So far going into 2023, I highlighted games that I'm interested in as Forspoken, which we got, Hogwarts Legacy, Jedi Survivor, Spider-Man 2, and I had some interest in Final Fantasy 16, but mainly we're looking at the superhero game, Suicide Squad, Spider-Man 2, Hogwarts Legacy, which so far is my favorite game of the year, and Jedi Survivor, which is dropping in April. You bought Marvel's Avengers 10 times Alphas alone. Tough. That Sony did with Avengers made no sense. Yeah, it was. That's probably one of the worst deals. And it's funny that Square Enix followed up that Sony deal, which is one of the worst deals I've seen in gaming, with their deal with the Embracer Group, but it basically just gave away all those IPs like at a discount. It's like a fire sale. Like you're giving up Eidos Montreal, Crystal Dynamics, the rights to Tomb Raider, Legacy of Kain, all that. You just dumped all that. And then they do this Sony deal to make a Spider-Man exclusive DLC. Like we broke down all the ways that was a just horrible deal, but this was a multi-platform game, and your biggest DLC announcement you make is a PlayStation exclusive, like right before launch. And then on top of that, you force the devs to make to work on the Spider-Man DLC late in development, so guaranteeing that they can't do it right, and you put them on a deadline so that they have to prioritize that over actually fixing the game. like that. You can write an entire book on how poorly Square Enix handled Marvel's Avengers. just analyzing the Sony deal, because not only did it hamstring the development of the game and make it harder for them to right the ship, they also left a bunch of money on the table, because whatever exclusive deal they made with Sony didn't include the rights to the most lucrative Spider-Man skins. Like, the whole point was to have Spider-Man in the game to cross-promote with No Way Home. And they didn't secure the rights to sell the No Way Home skins or the symbiote suit. So they just basically, the only thing got out of that was whatever money Sony gave them up front to put towards development costs. That's all they got. Like, some stuff was going. I can't wait for the expose all. Something was going on behind the scenes. Your homegirl from Spoken. I was so tired of your BS. Learn to take account of responsibility. Better should be a single player, since Des has more experience there. That's for sure true. That sounds like what they originally were going for. Then they pivoted unwisely. What happened to good Marvel games like Ultimate Alliance? They exist. Spider-Man PS4, Spider-Man Miles Morales from Insomniac, Marvel's Wolverine, another banger coming from Insomniac. Midnight Suns came out last year, one of the best Marvel games I've ever played. Marvel Snap, personally not for me, but everyone who's into mobile games tell me that Marvel Snap is legitimately a great game, despite the mobile stuff. And then we got some, obviously some interesting upcoming Marvel games, like Skydance's Black Panther and Captain America game. Plus we got 2 new Marvel games from EA. So plenty of plenty of good and potentially good Marvel games have been out and are coming out. Why is Kedavra not able to be used on everyone in Hogwarts Legacy? I mean, I've got it. I've pretty much used it. Who have you not been able to use it on? It's very interesting they're showing Suicide Squad on Save Play. It's not place exclusives. Yeah, Suicide Squad is on our platform. I mean, it's not particularly interesting or unique. Sony does that all the time. If a game has, even if it's not a PlayStation exclusive, they will show the game off at State of Play, even if it's not exclusive, as long as the game is still releasing on PlayStation. The only possibly interesting thing is that potentially maybe they might have some PlayStation exclusive content for Suicide Squad. That's what happened with Hogwarts Legacy. They did a State of Play where they did a little look at Hogwarts Legacy, and they announced that that if you got the PlayStation version of the game, it would come with a exclusive side mission in Hogsmeade. So it's possible that there's maybe some PlayStation exclusive content that you get when you buy the PlayStation version of Suicide Squad. But even without that sort of thing, they still will show games that aren't exclusive at these types of events. Not uncommon. You know what game has the black suit for free and a non-exclusive? Spider-Man Midnight. Midnight Suns, that is true. And it's on Xbox. I mean, it's not based in the game. I think you still have to get it from the store. Because I didn't get the Legendary Edition. Do you think it's possible that Wolverine will come out next year to promote Deadpool 3? I don't think it will come out to promote Deadpool 3. From what I heard, the latest intel on Wolverine is that it's either coming out late 2024 or 2025. But Insomniac is not connected with the MCU. They release their games based on their own schedule. They will have like bonus content for certain stuff. Like they had some they threw in some skins to promote No Way Home for their existing games, but in terms of actual release, they don't pay attention to the MCU. All right, we're going to wrap it up for Super News Live. Appreciate everyone for hanging out. We're going to have some of these segments come out later on for those that didn't watch, those that weren't able to catch the whole live. We'll have the smaller segments dropping later once I download and edit them out. Appreciate everyone hanging out. We'll be playing around with these. We'll have them. My goal is to have these Monday through Friday or Monday through Thursday. We'll see how it goes. And definitely we'll be covering the State of Play on Thursday. I'm Sadot the Gamer, signing out.